G'day folks, it's the Meeple Monkey here again with another video for you. This time we've got another, I won't say it's an unboxing because it's not really an unboxing. It's more of a what's in the box type video. Not that I really know what the difference is, but apparently if you don't have the box sealed and in its pristine condition, people don't like you calling it an unboxing video. So, but anyway, we're going to look at this game, Marvel Zombies Heroes Resistance. So this is the latest in a series of Zombicide games. This is a retail release based or sort of like an offshoot from a big Kickstarter campaign, Marvel Zombies. In that one you play as zombies, zombie hero versions running around trying to overtake the world or eat everyone. And this is like a little cut down version of that, but you play as living heroes. I think Marvel Zombies, besides the big Kickstarter campaign, will also have a retail release of its main big game where you are the zombies, but this is sort of like a cheaper version of that, plus an option for you to play as the heroes if you'd prefer to not be eating everyone. So we'll just quickly actually before we open it up, we'll just quickly show you the back side so you can see what this is. So it's basically a big big action game where you're running around cooperatively as a team of heroes, trying to sort of rescue civilians and complete objectives and that sort of thing on a big sort of cityscape board here. And you have these enemy zombie versions of the heroes trying to defeat you, but you'll notice here all the zombies and some of the bystanders as well are standees. So this is one of the things that makes this a cheaper cost. Plus I think there's only 4 boards. I think the other big version of the game will have quite a lot more boards and that sort of thing as well. So this is a 1 to 4 player game, and plays in about an hour, and I think that's about right. Yeah, so I've got a gameplay video coming up, and I think that's probably about right. So if we have a look inside, we have the rulebook here. So quite a nice rulebook actually. I found this really easy to read through, and so it doesn't seem like a very hard game. But you've got components there, so you can see your standees, the different heroes there. We'll go through those, but nice and glossy, and it actually just sort of explains everything really nicely. I found it quite easy to read. So despite being an easy game anyway, you get really laid out quite well. It's got a nice summary sheet at the back there going through all the rounds and what to do, so that's really handy as well. And it's got 8 different missions or scenarios in the back, not including a little bonus tutorial mode there as well, so with the different sort of objectives, and it tells you how to lay the maps out. So one thing is that you can't really just sort of play a randomly generated game of this. You only get locked into certain scenarios, although I'm sure if you're pretty creative you can probably sort of, and don't mind a little bit of self-balancing and that sort of stuff, you can probably come up with your own scenarios as well. So that's the rulebook. Now, like I said, I've already opened this up and played a few games with this already, so this is not a true unboxing. So this is, you'd normally see the punch boards and that sort of thing, but these are all the components you get. So we have these experience dials. I'm not sure about previous Zombicide games. I've never played a Zombicide game before this one, so I think you get some sort of like a strip or something like that for leveling up experience, but in this version you get these little dials that sort of help you go up to the different sort of power levels. So that's quite handy. I probably should zoom in on that so you can see it. So yeah, you get your blue level here up to about level 6, and you get your experience from killing the zombies, taking them out, or achieving objectives as well. So these are all the same. So you get 4 of those, 1 for each of the heroes. So there are 6, I think, heroes in this game, but rules-wise, you only ever play with 4 at a time. So in here, this is the first little lot of goodies here. So this is your objective crates. So they're generally, they're generally red, and I don't know if we can zoom in on these. Here we go. I don't know if you can read that. It says Stark Industries. So these little Stark Tech sort of crates. But you also have blue and green ones for scenario-specific objectives and things like that. So you might have general sort of ones, and then you might have specific ones that are, you have to sort of collect in a certain order or whatever it might be. So you've got the different objective tokens there, and then you have these doorways, little doorways that just sort of you place these on the board to show whether the door is closed or smashed open. And I like that in this game you never just open a door, you always bust it wide open and blast it to smithereens so that you can't use it again. So you know, true superhero sort of style. You can never just leave anything intact. There's always got to be a lot of collateral damage. So here are the boards. So they're 4 of them, double-sided. So you have sort of like a train, sort of subway entrance there. Whoopsie. And this side, I think this is Oscorp. Yeah. So you got the Oscorp building, sort of lab and that sort of stuff. I like how they've sort of got, you know, you sort of enter through here and then you're instantly into all the high-tech, sort of real dangerous labs and stuff. So, yeah, that's that one there. What else have we got here? This is, looks like I don't know if this is supposed to be the Heroes for Hire sort of, you know, apartment, you know, where, who's it, like Luke Cage and Iron Fist hang out or whoever it is, but, you know, you've got some, some weights here in the bedroom and that sort of thing, but, yeah, this is sort of like just like an apartment building there. On the other side, you have, I think this is just a generic, it's just like a table here, sort of kitchen bar or something like that. Maybe this is a bar. What does that say? Can't quite make that out. Maybe some sort of restaurant or something. Yeah, there you go. Supermarket maybe. There we go. And you can see on the board when you match these up, these sort of make the different zones for where you can sort of walk. I'm sure if you're a Zombicide fan or you've played games before, this is probably a similar sort of thing that they have. And yeah, there you go. It's just like a little office cubicles or something here. Oh, here we go. It's the Daily Bugle. Yeah, this is like the newspaper offices. And then we have, looks like some sort of a shop with the clothes on the rack here. And then it's a laundromat or something. And then you've got I think this is like the Wakandan embassy. You've got like the panther there, and sort of like big conference table and that sort of stuff there. So yeah, high tech little cubicles or whatever they are. So there are the four boards there. Here we have the heroes. This is probably what you really want to see besides the models. So here we have, these are just one-sided by the way, just got some artwork on the back. So here are the different heroes you can use. There's 4 of them that are combat characters and then 2 that are sort of ranged characters. So they've got their health tracker along here, and you use these little sort of clips that sort of like go up and down. You can track these. So you've got your power levels and your health level here. So your power level you can use to sort of throw extra dice into your dice pool when you're attacking, and you can also spend it, here we go, you can spend it on certain of these abilities and different traits and things to basically pay for these abilities. But other than that, you've got your basic attack here. So the attacks are all kind of similar. So you've got 2 characters, 2 of the combat characters that basically have 2 dice and hit on 3s or higher when they make an attack, and with a range of 0. So that's Winter Soldier and Black Panther. So they're both the same there. And then Spider-Man and Hulk both have 3 attacks but hit on 4s. But you'll notice that Hulk has 5 health there. Then we have Vision and Wasp, and they both have these attacks here that are with a range of 0 to 1, so they can actually attack from further away. And again, 3 attacks hitting on 4s or 2 attacks hitting on 3s. And if we have a look at these characters, they also have a blue level. So when they've not earned any experience at all, they start at that blue level. And so they can always do this ability. And then as they earn experience, they go into the sort of yellowy orange zone here. And that gives them an extra attack. And that's the same on all the characters. They all just get an extra attack as their... Sorry, not extra attack, extra action as their first sort of level up. Then they can start moving into these sort of superpower actions as well as they go up. So Vision, when drawing heroic traits, which is one of the things you can do, draw these little cards that give you sort of one-off powers. You may draw 2 and select 1, shuffling the other into the deck. He's got hologram. At the start of each enemy phase, You can spend power and select a zone within range 2. Enemies treat that zone as having a superhero in it when activating during that phase. Now, I'm not sure if there's actually a token in this game. I haven't really seen if there's a token that helps you remember that you've done that. So, yeah, haven't used that. And to be honest, in the games that I've played, I've never really got to a point where I'm at this level very much at all. So not use these much. Once during your turn, you may allow one other superhero to draw one free heroic trait and then perform one free action. Wow, that's pretty good. Diminutive size, so ignore target priority when attacking. Do not spend extra actions when leaving zones with enemies. So it allows you to zip in and out between, because once the zone starts filling up with bad guys, it's quite hard to navigate through them. You can't really sort of get to wherever you want. You've got to basically fight through each zone, because they sort of cost you movement if there's a lot of them around. But the other thing too is they have this thing where you basically have to attack the tougher models first, so you can't sort of try and whittle down the numbers before sort of taking out the big guys. So she allows you to sort of circumnavigate that, I guess. Now, what's she got here? Biosynthetic wings. Once during your turn, you may spend one action to perform one move action, moving up to 3 zones and ignoring enemies. That's pretty good. Yeah, very good. And then each time you enter or exit a zone with enemies, you may eliminate one walker, brute, or what? Each time, I suppose that's her super. By this stage, the zombies are probably attacking, by tens and stuff. But each time you enter or exit a zone with enemies, you may eliminate one walker, brute, or runner in that zone. Wow, that's pretty powerful. Okay, assassinate. So this is pretty handy when you're starting out. This is one of his great sort of bread and butter actions, is when he does his basic attack, and this doesn't cost an action or even a power. He just automatically takes out a walker or a runner, which is very handy. So he's very good at sort of whittling down the basic soldiers. Combat reflexes. Each time enemies enter your zone, you may spend a power to immediately perform a free combat blade attack. So a free version of this, which again, because you're triggering this, also activates that ability as well. And then hand-to-hand expert. When attacking with combat blade, you may reroll any dice. That's pretty good. Once during your turn, you may perform one free combat. Wow. Okay, so he's all about just like taking out as many guys as possible. All right. Now, Black Panther, I quite like him as well because he's really good at taking out the big guys. Before attacking, he can spend a power attacking with Vibranium Claws, which is his basic attack. He can spend a power to have enemies suffer -1 toughness, which really is great because that means the brutes are basically no tougher than a regular zombie, and even the zombie heroes become not that tough, so you can sort of usually try and take him out. And he can also re-roll, which is very, very handy. Leaping charge. Once during a turn, you may spend a power to move up to 2 zones into a zone containing enemies, ignoring enemies on the way, and then perform one free Vibranium Claws attack. And again, if you've got more power to spend, you could use that. Kinetic feedback. Each time you would suffer wounds, you may spend a power, roll a die. For each wound on a 3 or higher, prevent the wound. Wow. And eliminate one walker. Oh, wow. That's very good. One walker, brute, or runner in your zone. Spider-Man. This is great. He can basically web people into his zone to sort of rescue them. Once during your turn, you may spend a power to move a bystander or hero from an adjacent zone into your zone. Web shooters. Once during enemy phase, when the enemies in a zone of your choice within range 2 would move, you may spend 1 to prevent them from moving. So even though being Spidey, I would have thought he would have had like ranged attacks, but he essentially is webbing, I guess. So he's got that super strength, so he beats them up when they're getting close, but he can also use these abilities to sort of move people around and that sort of thing, but not actually do damage with the webs. Each time the enemies spawn within range 2, before any rush, you may perform a free attack or move action. And finally, is this finally? Yeah, finally the Hulk. So his ability is actually already printed on the card there. He starts with 5 health, but he can also gain a power at the beginning. So each turn at the beginning of your turn, you gain a power. He basically gains extra power for every wound he suffered. So if you can get him sort of like blocking a bit of damage early on, that sort of means he sort of earns power pretty quickly for the rest of the game, unless you can heal him. When attacking with Smash, which is his basic attack, you may replace your basic dice with your base dice with 1 dice for each enemy in the zone before any bonuses, ignoring zombie heroes for this attack. Wow. You cannot suffer wounds from walkers or runners. Whoa, puny zombies, that's pretty good. Okay, so that's all the cards. Okay, and now let's look at the other stuff. So I said cards actually, but I should have said hero cards, because we have other cards in the game as well. These ones are already sleeved, but you can see these are like the big decks in the game. Let's have a look here. So 2 big decks. We have traits and the zombie spawning cards. So the traits are essentially one of the actions you can do in your turn if you're not sort of fighting off zombies, is you can spend an action to just basically take a trait card. And you can have up to 2 of these, and they're basically little one-off abilities that you can spend to sort of do a boosted action, or something cool. So Tenacious here lets you. So again, they're all going to be triggered by discarding the card, but discard after attacking to re-roll dice. And so if we flip these over, you can have a look. Determined, discard during your turn to spend and spend a power to perform a free attack action. We've got Dash. We've got Guardian. Dash. So you can see there are multiples: Mighty, Unstoppable, and so on. Now there are seeded in here to make it a little bit risky. There are some ambush cards as well, which sort of spawn walkers in your spot. You do get to then draw another trait card, but it essentially does sort of put you under threat. So you don't always just want to be spamming these, because they can get you in a bit of trouble. Plus there's a lot of stuff going on, so you sort of don't want to spend too much time sitting around flexing. So but that's one of your actions you can do, and yeah, they're pretty handy. But this is probably the main event here. This is what the game's sort of built around, is this deck here. So at the end of each turn, you look for actually on the streets you'll have these little spawning point tokens you'll put out, and basically at the end of every turn, at the end of every hero sort of phase, the enemies have a phase, and then you basically spawn on each of the points that they have on the board. And you also, incidentally, every time you open the door to a new building that you haven't sort of seen before, you sort of populate that building with all the bystanders and zombies by sort of drawing a spawn card for every one of these symbols inside the building that's sort of connected to open doorways, and also putting out bystanders as well. So basically when you do that, either spawning on the streets or spawning in the buildings, and I think the buildings only happens once, you don't sort of do it every turn, you flip one of these cards, and this is going to tell you, based on what experience level your highest hero's at, you look at that, and it says, so in this case it's 1 every time, but that's because it is so we can get that to focus, a zombie hero. So we'll get to those, but otherwise there are walkers. These are the basic zombies, so you can see they start off by spawning 3, but if you're getting higher and higher into the game, yeah, you can get sort of 9 at a time. So that's why I was saying, wow, that one character can take them out for free, but it's like, if there's one against 9 is a drop in the ocean. So you also have these cards. So runners are another type that can spawn, but this particular card doesn't spawn any runners, but for all the runners that are on the board, you get a free activation. So that's quite nasty. You sort of want to hope that you get them in the order where you've killed all the runners, and then when you flip this, they're not there. So that's kind of handy. As far as I can tell, there's no rule that says if they're not there, you just draw again, sort of thing. So that's one way you can try and keep things under control. Brutes are another type of enemy. They basically have extra toughness, so you got to spend more successful hits to take them out. So there you go. So we've seen those. I should be flipping them over this way, shouldn't I? So we've got the extra activation. So we've seen that. I'm just looking for, here we go, Walker Rush. This is the other type of card you can get. So in this case, you don't give extra activations to all the walkers, but these particular walkers who show up this turn get to activate as well, because essentially in the enemy phase, all the walkers that are, or all the zombies that are on the board activate, and then you spawn the extra zombies, and the ones that spawn in generally don't act that turn, but you can, as you can see with that card, you can sort of upset that balance a little bit. So those are the cards. You get these little rings to put on your heroes, so you know who's controlling which hero. You get some dice. You get 6 of these dice. So they're just 6-sided dice, but the one is a chompy chomp symbol there. Zombies eating your face. Let's have a look at more cards here. So this is interesting. This is kind of cool. The zombie side Marvel game has these interactive objects that are scattered around the board. In this particular box, there's only the one, which is this Avengers sign. But I think in the bigger Kickstarter version, there's going to be lots of different types of these. And essentially, they give you a different action. So this one, for example, if you're in the zone, you can throw it at other zombies within line of sight, and I think within 2. And it's basically a ranged attack that you just roll the dice for every zombie that's in that zone, and on a 4 or higher, it gets flattened. And what's really cool is that you only get 2 uses, so you flip it over, and then you can see that it's damaged, and you get to use it one more time, and then it's out of the game. So that's quite fun, throwing that at zombies. Speaking of zombies, here are the zombie heroes. So I was talking about the brutes having toughness. These hero zombies have even higher toughness, so they have generally 3, or in some cases 4, in the case of Iron Man, for toughness, so you've got to get that many successes to take them out. And they all have a special ability. So Doctor Strange, he can basically teleport, because whenever he activates, if he's not in a zone with the heroes, he can jump straight there and basically eat them. Captain America can block your attacks on a 5 or 6 for every attack you do. Iron Man's a bit tougher, plus he can shoot ranged attacks at you if he doesn't quite catch you. And Scarlet Witch, she must re-roll, superheroes must re-roll all hits, so sort of similar, I guess, to Captain America, where she's quite frustrating, quite hard to take out. So those are the zombie heroes, and we'll have a look at those models in a second too. Now these ones don't have models, they have standees, but these are your bystanders, and you have to rescue these guys. So the ones with a little punch thing there can try and fight for themselves by rolling a 5 or 6 to block zombies, but generally you still need to rescue them. But they give you, once you rescue them, you also get these abilities that your hero can use as well. So you get a reroll with Wong. Pepper Potts can let you get extra traits. Jonah Jameson here. Okay, lets you sort of get extra sort of movement there, sort of reacting to the zombies. Happy Hogan, once during your turn you may spend power to push all enemies away. And you've got Okoye, again another sort of fighter here, you can spend to get extra attacks. And then Sharon Carter, I think she helps you with ranged attacks. Yeah, reroll misses with ranged attacks with her weapons there. So those are the I think that is all of the cards in the game. So let's shift into looking at some of these other components. So these are just the little plastic sliders that go on those hero cards. So for example, if you chose blue to be Hulk's color, although of course you wouldn't, you'd always choose green, right? But if you chose blue, you'd slide that over there, and that just slides across there, so you can keep track of that. And they're just interchangeable on either side there. So you get those for each of the colors: red, green, yellow, and blue. And this is just a little hero activation token sort of thing, just to show that you've used your hero that turn. And then, is there anything else in here? Here we go. These are these spawn points that I was referring to before. You just place these at the end of the streets, or just wherever the scenario tells you to. So that's just a generic spawn point. That's an exit point. Usually most scenarios have you trying to escape after achieving whatever mission you've got. And then there should be, here we go. This is the number 1 spawning point. So it's just a spawning point, but it just helps you designate where the zombies first start spawning, and then I think you just kind of go clockwise from there, I think is the basic premise. And they're nice, and I don't know if you see these, but I probably should take it out of the packet before I show you. You know, pretty standard, nice thick sort of feeling with the cardboard, so they feel fairly good quality there actually. Yeah, so yeah, good production. Not quite as, you know, full on as all the plastic bits and pieces and stuff from the fully deluxeified Kickstarter version, but pretty good. Same with these Standees too, nice and chunky. So these and all of the walkers are the same. So this is the same artwork on every single walker. So businessman, zombie. Then you have these are the brutes again, all the same artwork, but a very different silhouette to the walker. So you can easily tell them apart. That's the big brute, big construction worker. We have a runner. There we go. Run. Okay. And again, this is quite handy, having different color slightly or a different shade. And whoops, get them to focus. I have to put my hands here. And very different silhouettes, so these are quite easy to tell apart on the board. And then you have your bystanders. So we've got Happy Hogan. It's the same art you've seen on the card. So Happy Hogan, Sharon Carter, Okoye, I think. There she is. Yep, nice. And I just noticed they've got a little. It's sort of blocked by the, Standee plastic base there. It is see-through, but there's a little bit of a block there. But they do have a little punch symbol on the actual models too, just so you can remind yourself. I like to leave the cards next to them on the table just to remind me that they've got those abilities. Who else do we have in here? We've got Wong. We've got Jay Jonah. There he is. And I think there's one more. Maybe Pepper Potts. Here she is. There's Ms. Potts. Okay. So, they're all the Standees, and they just about fit. You've got to sort of pack them, push them down a little bit, but they just about fit there, even with the Standees still attached. So everything kind of fits back in nicely. Now, what you've been waiting for, let's have a look at the models. Let's start with the heroes and we'll finish with the zombies. So this is Vision. I haven't actually used Vision in a game yet, but looks quite impressive with his billowing cape there. So let's see if I can get in with some detail there, so you can see the level of detail. After painting a lot of Marvel United and just playing with a lot of Marvel United figures, this is quite a different sort of style, but they're pretty good. Probably more traditional sort of board game and just sort of war game miniatures. That's Winter Soldier. Here we have Black Panther. And who is this? Spidey. Spider-Man. There you go. The big guy, Hulk. Probably my favourite model. Probably just because you get, he's big, so you get to see a lot of the detail there. Probably not my favourite to play with. He's pretty good, but I think I like either Winter Soldier or Black Panther better to play with in the game. Now here we go. We've got Iron Man, Tony Stark, Zombified. That's kind of cool. Let's see if we can get in close. There we go. And we've got Zombie Doctor Strange. You must have seen the latest movie. Okay. There's his cape. A bit tattered there. And the final two, we have, let's see if we can get her to focus. There she is, Scarlet Witch. I put him down, make it a bit easier to see. There she is. Okay, rib cage showing there, gross. And last but not least, Zombie Captain America. He's looking a bit worse for wear. His knees are gone out there, aren't they? There's his shield. Shield's looking good though. Shield's undamaged. Well, you've got like a Hydra thing on the ground there, haven't you? So very cool. So yeah, the models look great. So you don't get models for everything, but the ones that you do get are really, really good. Not sure if they're going to be even better quality models in the Kickstarter version or not, but these are quite good. So yeah, anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. That was Marvel, I was going to say Marvel United, Marvel Zombies, Heroes Resistance. So I hope you enjoyed getting to see what was inside the box there. like I mentioned, I think before, I'm also going to be putting out a video, or might have already put out a video with some gameplay of this as well. So if you're eager to sort of see what it's like, if you've seen it on the shelves and you've sort of thought about maybe picking it up, or eagerly awaiting the Marvel Zombies Kickstarter and just want to sort of whet your appetite for that. And also just to, if you've invested in that and weren't really going to pick this up, if you just want to see, is this something worthwhile getting to sort of tide you over in the meantime? And hopefully this will answer that question for you. So, yeah, anyway, hope you enjoyed this, and hopefully see you back at the table soon with some more gameplay videos. But in the meantime, Meeple Monkey out. Thanks, guys. See ya.